Race Squad VIP memberships are for those that want face-to-face accountability. Now, whether that's in person or on Zoom, we can make sure that you are doing your sessions at the time that they're supposed to be done and in the way that they're supposed to be performed. So we're effectively removing any margin for error in regards to the quality of your training sessions. They are great for people that maybe struggle with motivation to do training by themselves, even if it is to follow a plan. The Race Squad Pro membership is fantastic for providing the details of what to do, but you still need to be able to do it yourself. Whereas the VIP membership, we're going to have a certain number of sessions that we're doing per month that will basically, you won't have to think about, you just have to follow, just do what you're told. So really good for people that need that extra level of accountability and guidance in person. They're very flexible in how they can be made up, these memberships. So that's why the option is not just to join now, it is to book a call so we can actually discuss the quantity of time that you will need a coach with you, right? So again, that time could be spent in Zoom consultations or in-person consultations, and they both have different costs, especially when we're talking about using a gym facility that the coach needs to pay for versus a Zoom consultation where we're not having to expenses associated with that. So it's all very flexible, also down to what we do with those sessions. So with the consultation, the discovery call, we will discuss what sort of sessions you need the most help with. For some people it will be strength work, they've never done anything in a gym before, or maybe for others it will be runs. It will be making sure that they do the runs properly. So I'll talk you through all the different types of sessions or consultations that are available to VIP members to book. I will just stress though that because they take up hours and hours per month of my time, these memberships are very limited. One person could effectively obliterate my ability to offer these memberships again, well, at least until I get some other time freed up. So I can't just offer unlimited VIP memberships. They will suck up the hours, and therefore they are very limited supply. So one-to-one runs. So in person, this could be me on my bike, running, cycling next to you, making sure that you're keeping to the speed of your tempo run or your long run. And this is really important. I suppose a really obvious example of this could be someone who's crash training for a race, right? So let's just use a half marathon as an example. Sometimes I get people 3 weeks out from a half marathon, and the longest they've done is 10K in training. So they really need to be getting in 2 long runs per week, so that they can get the distances up, and then still have a week or two to taper down and make sure that they're fresh on race day. So it really is crash training, and this is an obvious example when certain people will really need every run that they do between then and the race to be just spot on, absolutely perfect to what their needs are at the time, and also what their current level of fitness is. So a lot of people do these sessions and swear by them, but also interval training sessions. So it could be going down to a park or a track and carrying out an interval training session, again perfectly paced, whether that be with me on the bike or running with them. These sessions again are brilliant for making sure that you're reaching the intensity required to get the benefits, to get that stimulus for your body to adapt and deal with headwinds and bursts of speed and hills more effectively. These sessions can also be carried out on Zoom. I know it sounds crazy, but through the pandemic we found out that I can absolutely run a coaching session on Zoom with someone running with their phone and their headset. Now, a tempo run or a long run is a perfect example of this. I can be right here at home and coaching someone across the other part of the country or even the world, if the time zones fit. And you know, the reason that we do this, one is accountability, a time to be doing the workout. Two is someone actually asking you, is your speed right? Is it correct right now? What is your speed? Right, we talked about you doing this speed. Why are you going faster? What's your heart rate right now? What's your breathing like now? I can actually hear someone's breathing when they have a Bluetooth headset on and are running with that on. It works surprisingly well, and we never would have thought of it if it wasn't for COVID. So these sessions are really good. It might not be the sort of thing that you do every week, but a lot can be learned running with a coach in your ear. I'm telling you now, yeah, it's actually really beneficial. Gym sessions, believe it or not, can also be done in a Zoom call. Again, I would need to be, if it's a gym session, I would be in a gym so I can demonstrate correctly, or else I'd be in a space that enables me to demonstrate correctly. If equipment's required, then I can absolutely go to the gym that I use and record a Zoom. It's a PT studio, so there's not loud music and lots of people in there. But these sessions can also be done in person as well. If you can come to Cheltenham, then by all means, the facility that we've got is brilliant, nice and quiet. It's just PTs and their clients, and often, especially if it's after sort of 10 o'clock during the day, then there's a good chance that we're going to have the whole facility to ourselves, so we can really make sure that every exercise you're doing is with perfect form. Now these sessions that we do could be around injury prevention or rehabilitation, so really careful exercises with relatively low weights, and progressing them session by session. And the great thing about being with someone for those sessions is that they're very much fine-tuned as we go, based on how you're reacting right in the moment to the variables that we've put in front of you, in regards to the reps, the weights, and the sets, and how you're feeling on the day. So effectively, that's a personal training session. These can also be used for S&C, so for strength and conditioning, whether it be that we have you doing lunges and squats, deadlifts, upper body, core exercises, can all be incorporated into these sessions and can be really good at providing a full round approach to developing you as an athlete. So you're not just a runner, you are a strong athlete as well. Olympic lifting is another thing that we can do in person. So for those of you who have ever seen the guys on telly doing your clean and jerk and the snatch, these exercises are the final products, but there's loads of progression exercises that build up to being able to perform these, and all of them make us a lot more explosive with our bodies. And believe it or not, there is a carryover to running, and especially with regards to holding perfect running posture while running fast. So Olympic lifting is absolutely performed by the best runners in the world, and should be incorporated to every runner's training plan if they have already got a good foundation of strength underneath and understanding of how to perform the lifts correctly. Another top of the pyramid training tool is plyometrics. So absolutely used by runners at the elite level. Again, needs to be built on top of a foundation of strong muscles, so especially through the calves and the quads. We need to make sure that you have already been doing squats and lunges and other big exercises before going into plyometrics, which is basically jumping, lots of jumping exercises, box drops, drop and jumps, hurdles, all sorts of stuff to make you more springy. Really good carryover for running. Next up, running technique sessions. So imagine we go down to the park, we get some video of you running towards the camera, slide on from the camera, we have a chat over the video, and discuss what sort of things we want to work on, but then we'll break into a series of running technique drills which really allow us to isolate what parts of your technique we're working on with in a slower a drill really just lets us break it down and do things a bit more slowly, and then we start to bring it closer and closer to running, so that you're carrying that technique cue right through from a drill, which doesn't necessarily represent running very much, but then each drill we do gets more and more specific, or closer and closer to what running looks like, and eventually you're doing that, following that cue while you're running, and that's how we really make lasting changes with your running technique. But it's also, the drills also make you stronger at the movements in running. So one example could be a heel lift. So if you're doing a march where you're lifting your heel up to your hips, well, that's going to make you stronger, and so you'd be surprised how quickly your hamstrings get tired. It's doing a march, lifting your heel up over and over again is going to make you stronger at lifting your heel up when you run. So you'll be less inclined to run with a really low heel lift when you run, which is actually a low heel lift is associated with all sorts of injuries, shin pains, high cadence. So if you've ever struggled to get your cadence up, part of the reason is because you're not lifting your heels up, you're not making a circular movement with that foot. So the running technique drills are fantastic conditioning opportunities for us, and obviously with anything like this, and even the strength sessions, we're going to make sure that they fit around your runs and don't fatigue you too much for your important runs that you've got to carry out throughout the month. Nutrition consultations. There's all sorts of consultations that we can have, but nutrition is really important, and sitting down with someone for a dedicated 30 to 60 minutes to discuss what foods work for you, what foods don't, where do we need to sort of balance things up, what do we need to cut out, what do we need to replace it with, so just to make sure that the foods that you should be eating, and hopefully you enjoy eating, are in the house when they need to be there, as opposed to the foods that you shouldn't be eating, and but they are in abundance, really slowing you down with regards to what you're trying to achieve with your running and your health goals. We can also do shopping sessions. So if you're in Cheltenham or don't mind coming to Cheltenham, then we can actually go around a shopping centre and so Tesco, for example, and look at the different options and really figure out where the best foods are and which aisles to avoid, and run through buying the actual food that you need to have on your shelves in order for you to fuel yourself properly. Now, for some of you, your body composition may be something that influences your running performance, or maybe it influences your goals with health and fitness. So when I talk about body composition, I'm really talking about what proportion of your body is muscle, what proportion is bone, what proportion is fat, what proportion is water, right? So we have a set of scales that can assess all of that, and it's really important, because a lot of people will check their weight from time to time, but your weight is made up of those 4 components plus a few others, and if you're noticing that your weight is not changing, for example, maybe you want it to decrease, it's possible that you are reducing body fat, but you're increasing in muscle mass or bone mass, and you can't see it on a normal set of scales. With the Tanita scales that I have, it will give you a little printout. In fact, I just happen to have one here, which shows all of your stats. Okay, so you can see the body weight there, but you can also see the percentage body mass, percentage fat. TBW is the total body water. You've got your BMR there, so that's your basal metabolic rate, your bone mass. So certain numbers you'll want to see increase, and others you'll want to see decrease. Okay, and obviously if we're doing that maybe once a month or so, we're definitely going to see that. It's not the sort of thing that we would do too frequently, but it takes 5 minutes before a session, and a really handy update. To begin with, it's really just about getting benchmark, not finding out where you are relative to everyone else, but then obviously each time we reassess, we can see the progress that's been made, or lack thereof if things haven't been going so well. And the final one is just coffee catch-ups. Sometimes it is nice just to sit down with your coach and talk about your goals for the future. Maybe you've got a list of events that you're thinking about doing over the year, and then we can talk about which of those fit in well together, and then how your training is therefore going to look in relation to those events. So when you're going to be working hard, when's a good time to have a holiday, when's a good time to have an ease back week, when's a good time to do a time trial. All that sort of stuff can be discussed in a relaxed environment, whether it be at a cafe or on Zoom, and with a coffee right at your desk. So that is the Race Squad VIP membership. There are other things that we can do, but I've really certainly outlined the core of the way I see it working. And this is just, we think of this as, for some people may think of this as excessive, but reality is that the best athletes in the world have this kind of a membership with their coach. They are not never seeing their coach. They see them regularly. They'll do training with a strength and conditioning coach. They'll have a dietitian or a nutritionist that they're seeing once a month, for some maybe more often. There's a reason that elite athletes have these people in their lives, because it really does help, and it helps us keep accountable and doing what is in our best interest. So have a think about it. VIP memberships can start from just £47 per month. Okay, so there's not going to be a lot of face-to-face sessions in that, but it's cheaper than what you may have expected. And bear in mind that you're also getting all the benefits from Race Squad Pro and obviously Race Squad Community as well. So have a think about it. If you want to discuss more, book a call, and we can formulate a program which is perfect for you and your goals.